I've onboarded something like over 116 clients, and in this video I'm going to be revealing our exact client onboarding process that results in longer client LTVs and, more importantly, more money going into your pocket. A bad onboarding leaves a terrible first impression for a client and sets a negative tone for the experience and leads to a much higher chance of buyer's remorse. Whereas a solid onboarding is often the difference between having a great relationship with your clients, working with them for many, many years, instead of them just leaving after a couple months being dissatisfied with your service and spreading bad things about your agency. Through the process of growing my agency from zero to multi-seven figures a year, we've been able to successfully dial in the onboarding process to a simple framework that I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video. And let me tell you, it's not going to be some like high level stuff that all these other agency gurus are sharing where they just say, fill in this form, look at this as API automation, and that's our onboarding process. We're going to go deep. I'm going to show you a true onboarding process for a seven-figure marketing agency. This document here, this is a 93-page document explaining how we took Hey Digital from 20K a month to over $1.5 million in annual recurring revenue. But I wanted to highlight a section in this document where we talk about revamping your onboarding process as an agency and how this is one of our core pillars when we help other agency owners start to scale up. And I wanted to bring this up on the screen so I could highlight this picture. This was the first time I ever onboarded a client, and I was sat on the floor, you can see here, at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego, thinking I was like the big dog. But the truth is, this was a complete mess. And after just 2 months, they churned. And that's probably why you're here. You want to get to grips with understanding what a successful onboarding process for an agency looks like. And to be honest with you, we've been through so many iterations of this at Hey Digital. And I think what we have in place now is really well dialed in. We'll share more about this document later on. But for this video today, I'm going to go even deeper than this document does. And so I'm going to start with giving you an overview of what our onboarding process at Hey Digital looks like. This is Slab. This is our knowledge management platform. This is where we store things for our team members so they can look at processes, systems, how we do things, etc. And I wanted to show you, first of all, the overview of a typical onboarding process for us at Hey Digital. So we have a few different core phases. We have our pre-onboarding phase, our kickoff phase, our strategy and planning phase, and then our build and launch phase. We run performance marketing for some of the biggest software and SaaS companies in the world. So the first step is to define the different phases of your onboarding process. Our pre-onboarding phase looks like contracts being signed, sharing with our team about the new client, setting up ClickUp folders, which is our project management tool. Then we have our kickoff stage, which is onboarding forms, ensuring everyone has what they need to work with the client, aligning with the client on goals, KPIs, etc. Then we have our strategy and planning phase, which is when we conduct audits of their accounts. We build out the strategy and the plan to be aligned with the client's KPIs and objectives. We build out their media plan, the different angles, how much we're going to spend, how we're going to prioritize, quick fixes, all this stuff. And then we go into our build and launch phase, which is new creative assets, new campaigns, launching campaigns, building new things, etc. So the first step when you're thinking about an onboarding process is actually, first of all, thinking about the client experience, defining what the different steps within the client experience are, and making sure you have this built out into core phases. Once we get through this, we can actually go into a little bit more depth around the pre-boarding phase. Now, if I'm honest with you, not to throw too much hate out there, but most of these videos on YouTube are about client onboarding processes, and it's someone that has onboarded barely any clients, running a tiny agency, telling you that you need to send them an onboarding form. They give you an example of an onboarding form. It's super basic, and then they say that's the onboarding done, you get into the work. It really doesn't work like this. The pre-boarding phase is this. This is where you collect the information. This is where you share with your internal team, your contractors, your freelancers, your employees, who the client is, what's going on. We get the contracts done, we notify everyone, we set up their folders in project management, etc. And I can even show you actually some examples from onboarding forms that we send to our clients, but we use Typeform for onboarding forms. We like to make sure that our kickoff call with a client isn't just all of us going through basic stuff that we should already know about the client. So we collect a bunch of stuff up front. It can be obvious stuff like company details, deal sizes, LTVs, countries they want to target. You can see a bunch of examples. We ask them about their goals, KPIs, what they're being held accountable to, where they're running ads, what they're spending. We ask for different asset types like different links and media types, etc. Then we have other forms for access, making sure they provide us the right level of access to the tools that we need, along with introductions on how to do that across all the different channels. And then we go a little bit deeper into the brand about messaging, tone, what's important to them, any keywords to avoid. And we set the expectation with our clients that this information is going to take them a few hours to complete, but will ensure that our work together gets started much more successfully successfully. Then we head into our kickoff phase. You can see some of the key things are operations onboarding, account introductions for team members, onboarding for different teams, for copy, for performance marketing. And then we have a kickoff call with the client. Everything at Hey Digital, we try and make sure the client has a premium and very smooth experience. So we have a kickoff deck. It will look a little something like this. We'll cover meeting the team, who they're going to be working with, recap of the onboarding process. It's all about setting expectations at this phase with your clients. We'll recap on the scope, on goals and KPIs, which is really key, communication, etc. So I won't show you all of this, but to give you some outlines, we'll kind of recap what the onboarding process looks like. We'll walk them through this and share this with them. We'll recap on the scope of work. And then the really important section is goals and KPIs, making sure we're taking the info from our onboarding form, we're discussing this with the client and having clear KPIs set for our relationship. This is really key. The onboarding process for onboarding clients is all about managing expectations. We do weekly phone calls with our clients for the first 5 weeks, covering a variety of things. So we have our kickoff call, we have our audit and strategy call, we have calls to talk about positioning and messaging, we have a call to introduce them to processes. Throughout the deck, we'll be giving communication guidelines, we'll be reviewing different access points, etc. We want the client to have clear next steps in place, but also a clear understanding of what on earth is going on, where they're at within our process, and we want them to feel that this is a truly premium experience and that we have got everything fully under control and they can trust us to deliver the best possible work for them. Some other items from the kickoff phase, we have documentation for our team so they see what's happening. Then we have our strategy and planning phase, which I've talked about a little bit. I'm not going to go through this fully because this is a 1.5 to 2 week process where we build out the plan for the client, the strategy, we put together a long deck for them, we run through this on a call. Then we have our build and launch phases where we share exact deliverables of what they can expect. But hopefully you'll see throughout this process so far that everything we do is communicated extremely clearly. It follows a set process, which we've learned from our years of experience, and it helps the client understand that they are having a premium experience and that we know exactly what we're doing for them. This is super important, and I think something that many agencies are overlooking. The onboarding process cannot just be you sending a type form or an onboarding form to your client with a load of basic ass questions that don't help anyone and then adding them into Slack and hoping that everything figures itself out. We even have like message templates for when the client joins the Slack channel. We have templates for emails that we send to them. We have really structured everything, and you should do the same. You should reverse engineer what the first 5 weeks look like for your client and make sure that you have processes and systems in place for all of this. And this is how you have a really solid onboarding process. The next thing after this process is then project management. From a project management perspective, you then want to take everything that you do in the onboarding process and systemize this into task templates. This is our task library for client onboarding in ClickUp, which is our project management tool of choice. And you can see for the different phases, we've then listed out the different tasks along with who owns those tasks, the type of tasks, the delivery role, with subtasks within all of these, with actions and steps and clear check marks, deliverables for every single one of these tasks. And we do this for the whole onboarding process so that when a new client joins, we just change the dates, copy this, put it into the new client folder, and we can automatically assign all of the tasks to the right people. This is super thorough, and it means that the onboarding process operates extremely smoothly. Everyone has a clear overview on what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and we can really like project manage and plan our time as a team extremely effectively through following these processes. So once you've built out this like onboarding overview for you internally and then for client facing, you then want to document and build out all of the step-by-steps of the different tasks and have them in your project management in a way that is duplicatable so that you can press a couple buttons and have all of these tasks set up rather than doing this manually each and every time. Something else that's really important is to be consistently collecting feedback from your clients on the onboarding process itself. We typically iterate on our onboarding process fairly frequently. We make small tweaks based on the client feedback. Your onboarding process is never finalized, but remember there are two goals. One is to ensure the client has an extremely smooth onboarding, and then the second is to make it more scalable for you and for your team. You want to be able to sign a client, onboard them, and everyone know the steps to take. So now you know the exact process you can follow to onboard clients for your agency successfully and set up your relationship for success from the very beginning. By the way, if you want to scale your agency to 7 figures and get yourself off of this hamster wheel of day-to-day tasks and client work, click the link in the description description, as I might have something there for you. I'm helping a very select number of people, of agency owners, in a one-on-one consulting basis to scale their agency operations and free up their time whilst making more money than they ever dreamed of, just like I've done with my own agency at Hey Digital. Also, if you want to learn how I went from $120 to $3 million with my agency in just a few years, you can click on this video over here to learn more. If you found this video valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more like this, and I'll see you in the next video.